What is law? Have you ever really thought about that? I went to Black's Law Dictionary and I pulled this definition. Kind of sounds similar. Law, in its generic sense, is a body of rules of action or conduct prescribed by a controlling authority and having binding legal force. That which must be obeyed and followed by citizens, subject to sanctions or legal consequences, is a law. Now that sounds pretty basic, right? Statutes and codes, regulations that we have to follow, or we get fined, or we get imprisoned, or what have you, right? Now, jurisprudence, if you've heard that word, is the philosophy of law. Where does law come from? What's underlying the development of these rules, these sanctions, these codes? What is law and where does it come from? Now, one theory of jurisprudence would be natural law. That in fact all law is based on morality, on ethics, things that are out there for all of us to know, to observe. Natural law is something that's inherent in all of us. And actually law is something that we discover. Law is something that comes out of our experience as we discover moral principles, as we discover ethical codes that we all agree in. Okay? Now there's a movement today towards more areas of social justice, where law is something to kind of even the playing field, so to speak. Critical legal studies, positive law, which would say that the collective, the evolutionary progress of a society dictates what law is. Throughout history, law has been something that says that those in power tell you what the laws are, because they want to keep power, right? So those in power tell you what the laws are, and then they enforce the laws that they just told you you have. And then finally, there's a notion of self-law. And this is very relativistic, very postmodern, which would say we all control ourselves. Since morality and ethics is of the self, it's relative to our own personal experience, then we are in control of law, thus self-law. Now, when you really go through all these different concepts of law, law is super powerful, isn't it? Law does control society. Those who are in power do have the ability to create the rules and enforce the rules. But is there something more? Is there something that holds all of community together? Is there something that says that there is a morality, that there's an ethic that transcends human cultures, that transcends personal experience, that transcends the greedy or the manipulative power structure? Again, something to really look at today in our culture, in society, in the world, because there's a huge battle at what law is, where it's ultimately derived from, and who gets to enforce it.